Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are tuned in to Two Catholic Dudes. Yeah, all right. Good. My name is Ryan Klaus.
My name is Danny Cleary.
And as always, we're not priests, we're not theologians, we're just two Catholic dudes, and we're talking about our faith.
And thank goodness we're back in live action because this microphone needed to be fixed. So I haven't had a chance to fix it in a long time.
Nice. You looked great on camera. I'm pretty sure we got a dope shot set up today. So if you guys are watching at home, here we are. Hey. What's up? Tune it in. We're on YouTube on the interwebs. Check that out.
Yeah.
But we are back in person, and it's getting exciting tonight. What are we talking about? I don't really know.
So we've talked about it a lot on our last few episodes. We keep using it as an excuse of just, guys, we don't have anything to talk about. That's why our episodes aren't great. So we thought this one is, we talk a lot of time off camera about what the future of our church looks like, what the future of parishes look like, just a lot of major things that are going to be very different maybe. So we just thought, instead of having that discussion off the air like we're on a radio.
We're on the radio.
But like, we would have it on the podcast. We're just going to talk to each other about what we think, throw out ideas, throw out thoughts that we come up with, and so this will be an episode for sure. We'd love for you guys to put in the comments what you think.
Join in the conversation and tell us what you think the future of the Catholic Church will be post-COVID-19.
So maybe we'll argue, maybe we'll agree, who knows? But we're going to talk about what we think in this episode.
That's right. So this is the first time we are doing the podcast in your youth room.
Yes, that's where we are right now.
It looks pretty dope. It's pretty cool.
It doesn't look this good usually.
We kind of doctored up the set, but it's a cool youth room. It's a great space.
Well, it's funny because I haven't been here in a really long time.
Yeah,
because I've been working from home.
Right. But no, it's a lot of fond memories and a lot of hearts changed in this room right here.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's a great place. It's the same youth room that I first fell in love with my faith on our story about. And when I do my testimonies, when we speak places, I talk about the room that I used to get called into to talk about wrestling that, started my journey to finding my love for my faith and the love for the church. And it all started in this room, So it's crazy that this room is now my office where I do that same work.
That's pretty cool, man.
Pretty cool. So
in full circle.
Here we are. I haven't been here in a really long time. And you and I have not seen each other in person in like 3 months.
About 3 months, yeah. So on my board at home, the quarantine board, my count last I checked was 53 days, but that was the day that the church kind of their doors were closed.
Right.
53 days since that. But we had filmed previously to that like
a bunch of
3 or 4 podcasts ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
So that was about a month before that we met up and filmed a bunch of stuff. So yeah, it's been a while.
I really think that maybe the last time we filmed together was the live podcast.
Oh, yeah, that was it.
At Antelope Valley. That was the last time we were together. That was February.
February 29th, Leap Day. So it's been a bit. It's now May.
Yeah, and yes, some people are going to be upset that we're here together.
It's just tricks from the camera. It's camera tricks. We're actually like...
We can't touch each other.
Right. He's right in the front of the camera. I'm way back, but it looks like we're together, but we're actually like 30 feet away apart from each other.
But Ryan and I have been quarantining, social distancing from each other, from everybody for months and months and months. Not just like everybody else, but Ryan was in town.
For Mother's Day. Today's Mother's Day.
Yeah, today's Mother's Day. And so Ryan was, social distancing lunch with his mom, and we had to take advantage of the opportunity to podcast together.
Oh, FYI, if you guys want to get your mom some flowers on Mother's Day, don't go at 2 p.m. on Sunday, the day of.
They're out. They're also out of cards.
Yeah, both those things they were out of. I bought her a cactus. But she actually really liked that.
I got my mom a hug.
Nice.
And you know what my mom said, though? Her favorite thing was the post on Facebook.
See, sometimes, moms enjoy when their kids are older, they enjoy those little things. Like my mom, the greatest gift my mom said was me coming back to visit because I haven't seen my parents in 2 months.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But so I got her cactus.
Great job, man.
Yeah. Thanks.
Anyway, so we're here, we're hanging out, we're finally back, getting a chance to film. We've been doing the Zoom podcasting, and it's just not the same.
It's not. You have that weird, there's always like a weird delay when you're not sure if the other person's going to talk or you should talk, and then you end up talking over one another. So
the editing process is way more difficult for Ryan.
Oh my gosh. So this is a dream situation here.
So okay, so we're talking about the future of the church. What's that going to look like? What's that going to be like? Because we are still in lockdown, technically.
Yeah.
Things are kind of starting to open up, and I've noticed that people are kind of starting to go, I'm getting out of here. Okay, I'm starting to move around a little bit. Like, people are starting to move a little bit more, I think.
People are over it. People are over it.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of, well, nobody has any idea what to believe and what to make of this situation.
The news fills it with so much. Some people are like, this is like, we are drastically overreacting, da-da-da. Then the other news is like, this is the Black Death. And so it's just, you never really know what to believe.
Yeah, I hear one post one day that next week we're all back. And then somebody else is going, this is just wave 1 of 3 probably. And we're going to be in this for the long haul for like at least a year or 2.
Yeah.
It's like, well, okay, I don't know. So, and then a lot of people are like, even if we're still in quarantine, what does that really mean? People are like, well, I'm going to go to the beach and I'm going to go do my thing.
Right.
And some businesses now are just like, well, we're just going to open. And what are you going to do?
Yeah, like there's places that are just like, forget it.
Yeah.
But
luckily churches aren't saying that yet.
No,
churches are
in some places in the US, I think so. I think
they're doing soft opens.
They're getting soft opens, I think.
Right.
I thought I read that on an article. I'm not positive on that. Don't quote me, but
I did talk to Father Jared Cook from Texas, and Texas always kind of does their own thing.
Yeah.
They're starting to soft open.
Okay.
But it's gonna be like 50 people. And they're gonna be checkered boarded out around.
How do you determine that? Do you have like a counter?
Probably.
But like, that sucks.
Yeah.
So like, you got to get there early.
First come, first serve. But
this is perfect. We're starting this discussion because my thought is like, I was talking to my pastor about it, and he was saying like, how do you open it only to not a select few, but to few, So then there's people just like, oh, sorry, you didn't get it.
How many confessions did you go to last year? 10 or above, you're in. Everybody else.
Let me see your attendance. So it's like, how do you determine that? How do we decide? Because some people everyone's starving for the Eucharist, right?
Absolutely. But I think you need to make your church as accessible as possible.
Right.
With these restrictions. So yeah, maybe you're only going to be able to allow 50 people in, but you're not going to restrict that mass. Where most churches, I think almost all churches have gotten on the live streaming at this point. So
I hope so.
I'm sure there's some that haven't. They just either don't know how to, or they
don't have the means.
They don't have the means, or maybe there's just some that are flat out lazy or scared. I'll talk
to that point in a minute, but yeah, keep going.
But so most people are at least live streaming to some degree from their phone or whatever, but to be able to keep that up and have some sort of way that they can meet in the middle while people are coming back and for this foreseeable future. I think this is going to be something that continues on, quite frankly. But to have, the 50 people in the church, but the people that didn't get in could stream it from the hall or could stream it from their cars or a combination thereof.
Yeah, and then you find a way to do the sacrament of the Eucharist in a different way.
And the Eucharist could be at the end of Mass, everybody gets communion and leaves. So Mass concludes, nobody gets communion, maybe except for the priest. And then, sign of the cross, thanks be to God. Then you come up, you receive the Eucharist up one aisle, and you go out an exit door. And there's an indoor, there's an outdoor, everybody goes in, everybody goes out, and you go to your cars and you leave.
Yeah. I understand the formality of it. I just think people are going to be like, and I would be too. It's like, how do I have my time to process what just happened? Does that make the Eucharist just like a drive-through routine?
You process it in the car,
but
and
like,
get out of here.
But like that, I think that like that takes away the
100%.
The importance of it. And so I'm like, I would almost rather abstain and make a spiritual communion if I can't fully give myself to. I mean, I'm blessed enough I receive communion every Sunday still. And I can wholeheartly receive and take my time to pray and reflect and I'm blessed, and I think that's something that could really be irreverent, and I think that's going to be a hard thing. Is how do we go back to having Mass but try to keep it still the reverence of Mass?
It's going to be different.
It's going to be different.
It's going to be different, and say we come back to these public Masses next week or next month even. and with 50 people, and it'll probably be a staggered process, 50, then 150, then 250 over the course of weeks or months. But it's going to be a long time until we have a congregation of 800, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, do you think it's because of restrictions?
Because of restrictions.
Yeah, because I was going to say, because I think that like at Hearst, you were hearing like nobody's going to go anywhere because everyone's afraid. That is not going to be the case, I don't think. I think everybody wants to get out so bad.
Look at the beaches in Orange County that one weekend. They're like, wow, the beaches are open. Like 20,000 people went to Newport Beach, and it's like, and then the governor was like, okay, just kidding. My bad. No, beaches are closed. But like people want to get out, and people are hungry for the Eucharist and hungry to come back to church.
Yeah, I think, and I think that I was speaking to some of my teenagers a couple of days ago because I'm online all the time with them. And I was saying, like, how is this gonna when life goes back to whatever normal may be again, whoever it may be, when we can do things, how is your faith still gonna be part of your life? Because you're coming onto these Zooms and everything, and people are like, I've realized now, like, God was the constant when things got bad, you know, like I was still like people like the church, and I felt all I could do was pray in some instances, you know? And so like, I think people are going to be like, church was there for me during this time, and I got to be there for God, you know, and support and do what God's asked me to do and live that life. And so I think that it's going to be, I think mass is going to, the attendance is going to shoot up, which is why people are going to be like, ooh.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be difficult because I was talking to my pastor about it because we're like, what are we going to do? And we were talking about maybe it being people come and you do the number restriction thing, which is so lame. And then you also do a separate live stream, you know, because that's the other part that's tough is unless you're a St. Monica's, right, who has it down to a science. When I live stream, I'm all up in the altar and the sanctuary and trying to get the best shot for the people at home and stuff. And my pastor's like, come on, like do whatever you got to do. But like, if there's people in the congregation, I'm not necessarily going to be like, you know, all up in everyone's face.
Trying to get the best shot.
Yeah.
Right,
like, cause I'm like, it's Monsignor, prep the altar and me, right? Like I'm blocking everything. So you can't live stream at the same time if you're doing it that way. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. How does that look?
I don't know. Also, I think you spent too many podcasts Zooming because you get on the microphone.
Oh, sorry, dude.
When you're talking to your computer mic, it picks up everything. But yeah, so I think it's going to be different, and there's so many different options. We're not sure which way we're going to go, and time will tell. But I think being prepared and ready for those will I like the point that you said about having that separate live stream. That could be a good option. I think one thing that a lot of people are overlooking is the fact that you have to clean and sanitize the church every time after each mass. And so initially people were like, we're probably going to have way more masses like to accommodate all people, but you're going to have to sanitize the pews where their cleaning crews are going to be all over it. But it's going to be expensive for one, and churches are already in financial turmoil during this.
Yep.
And then you need the time to clean. So the masses are going to have to be even more spread out.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Right.
Cause like we clean after our 2 live streams, but there's only so much to clean because there's not a lot of people there.
Yeah, it's like full-on cleaning service coming in and doing all the pews, all the missals, and everything like that.
That's what they're saying. They're gonna have to. That's
possibly
gonna
right.
Yeah, right.
Or taking out the missals, and I who knows, man. There's just so many moving parts to this.
The missiles. That's gonna be the hard part because everyone's touching.
You got grimy hands. All the kids like.
Well, either that or people are gonna start saying like, you gotta use your phone, I guess.
So this is where all the digital side of things comes in, because the church is taking a giant step forward, a giant leap forward in digital technology and joining the digital era. They've, I remember I saw a meme that said in 2008, all the pastors, or 2010, it was like a 10-year gap. 2010, all the pastors are like, Facebook is the devil. And then 2020, come check out the live stream on Facebook.
Right. Yeah.
It's like things switch real quick there, but we're really quickly having to join this digital revolution and use the technology to evangelize and to advance and help the church. And so, if we have to get the missiles out of there and say, maybe our church doesn't have a drop down screen yet. Maybe is now the time to do that? It's a lot of money, but this is a battle. And it's times like these that you have to play offense. If you start playing defense and saying we don't have the money, I know we don't have the money and it sucks, but like maybe we have to dip into savings to buy a drop down screen or buy a camera so that we can do this live stream and make it decent, but for safety of like the missiles or something. But if you really can't, if you absolutely can't, you can still find ways. Yeah. Log on to your phone. All the lyrics are going to be on, whatever the website, or you can make it happen somehow.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that it's going to be very interesting what people have to do or what churches are willing to do to make this happen and continue. Because what I hope as well, let's just shift more positively, I guess. I hope that, say everything can go back to normal eventually and it's fine. And it's like you can just mass, everybody can go.
And everyone's like, remember when that whole COVID thing was going on?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like everything's fine. Everyone goes to mass. Everyone can greet each other and shake each other's hands or hug each other or whatever it may be, and it's great. And everything is hunky dory again. That's my prayer. Obviously, that's what we all hope, right?
Right.
Nobody wants to live like this, but I do hope that all these great advances that we've made get implemented to continue to be a tool for evangelization. I think that Facebooks and live streams and cool content that people are making online, because that's the other great thing. You're doing it, I'm doing it at our church, and I've seen a lot of other places doing it, is trying to up your content. Let's get more stuff online. Let's get more stuff at in people's pockets, essentially. Even if it's just short little scripture reflections or cool shots of the church or little messages of hope, whatever it may be. I think that kind of stuff is a welcomed addition.
Absolutely.
To what we're doing.
Yeah, even if the church deems that the live stream should stop, because here's one caveat to the live streams continuing even when we're back to normal. Mm-hmm. Say you step up the live stream production and you got like a 4-camera shoot during all this. Yeah. And then you're like, well, let's continue this because it's great. And everyone's got used to doing this from home. But then your church is half full because people are like,
I'll just watch it at home.
Exactly. I could be in my pajamas. It's fine.
Yeah.
You don't want that to happen. You want that to be an extra thing. Right. Maybe somebody goes to the Saturday night vigil and they see their associate pastor, but they're like, you know what? I want to hear the homily from my pastor, so I'm going to tune into the Sunday live stream. Or who knows? But like you don't want that to be the regular, or so they're sick.
The alternative.
You want it to be the alternative. Maybe someone's sick, they can't get to mass. Whatever circumstances that they absolutely can't be there, they can watch the live stream. Yeah. Or somebody who's out of town.
Because what we don't want to confuse it with, right, is something that we have that makes us different from just a regular, these new evangelical Protestant churches where it's just like, yeah, watch us on whatever.
Their whole service is exactly the same.
Yeah, you have to be able to go to the Eucharist.
Right.
That's the big thing, is we need that. And that's the thing that people are missing the most, I think, about church. And that's the thing they should be missing the most, at least. And so that's why I think that we have to continue to push that as people that are passionate about the faith, right? People that work for the faith, people that are in ministry, priests, everybody. We need to be saying like, hey, the Eucharist is a big deal. So even if, yes, this live stream continues, you can't get the Eucharist over live stream. So you need to get there.
Yeah.
You
can be spiritually fulfilled, uplifted, whatever, but you are not getting.
Yeah. And it's not even like, oh, well, they need to come so they can donate. You could donate online. Right. That's not it. It's You need to come to the Eucharist. Yeah. Right. That's what our faith is. That's the summit, and that's to be the center. So I think having, people of goodwill and people of good faith, that's going to drive them to the mass, like rather not do the live stream anymore. And we'll say too, I think that there's going to be people, no matter what, that are going to be like, forget it. I'm just going to watch mass forever.
Yeah.
Right.
No. Yeah. That's going to change the way of life for them. They're like, oh yeah, for a lot of things. They're like, oh, I don't have to go to church. I'll just watch from home. That's fine. Oh, I don't have to, like, in business, will be like, oh, we don't have to have all our people come here. We can downsize our office. Let's just have them work from home. It's going to change the scope of the world in 100%. A huge way.
100%. It's going to be like everyone, have you seen WALL-E?
Yeah.
Where everyone has those big chairs. Yeah, everything is on their screen. And they're just like, like that's what it's going to be like. Yeah, awful. But I do think to a degree too, people are going to get sick of it though. Because I'll tell you, as somebody, I'm in Zoom meetings all the time. Last week was a record high, right?
Yeah.
I had Zoom meetings about a digital retreat that we're doing. I had a Zoom youth ministry meeting. I had a Zoom youth ministry gathering, and then I had a leadership training. And I popped in at an event that somebody was having as like a little guest. Hey, I did a little guest speaking. So like, I was on Zoom at one point from noon until like 8 p.m. with like an hour that I ate dinner, just staring at my computer. And I was like, I never want to go on Zoom ever again.
And the thing is, Zoom is great to connect us, but the technology, it's good enough that we're all chatting together, but it's awkward for sure, right? Especially when you're in a big group and like everyone has their mic muted and it's just like, hello, anyone there? You know they're there, but it's like you can't hear anything. You don't get that like feedback of like that in-person feeling of somebody, even if they're not talking to you. Like if you're talking to a group, you get that feeling of that they're listening and they're there with you,
dude. Yes,
right? Because like when you're in a Zoom meeting, you don't know, are they like just on their phone? Like,
I
am all the time.
I'm always on my phone. I'll be honest with you guys. I was at a meeting one time and I had my Xbox on while I was like watching Netflix.
Exactly.
Well, I had a show going on in the background because I was like, I don't need to hear, this isn't prevalent information. Like the part of the meeting where I needed to listen was past.
Exactly.
And I'm like, okay, this is my part. I'll pause this and I'll pay attention. But like,
that's like most people wish they could do that in regular meetings. Anyways,
my point was just have that ability.
My point was you're just in a regular meeting at work and you're just like, I'm just gonna check out. You tell me when I'm in. But like my point was, will there be some sort of technological advancement to move us forward in these kind of online group meetings? I can't even speculate what it would be. But something that's more engaging, less awkward. Who knows? I don't, but like I know everybody's working on it right now. Everyone's trying to catch up. Like Google, Facebook, they're all trying to catch up to Zoom. But usually times of trouble, times of strife, times of war, that pushes technological advancements. That's when we move forward the most. In those unfortunate times, we move forward in a society. So
because man, does Zoom have the monopoly on everything?
Oh yeah. So my prayer is that the church moves forward in this time of trouble, in this time of strife, in this time of war. This is a battle, like I said. So that we take this time, we move forward, we take that step, we take that leap. The church leaps over everyone else in whether it's in technology, but however we can get through this together as a church, we move forward and we're like, boom, we're the Catholic Church. We are here. We are the new and improved. No, we're always the Catholic Church. We are here, but
we have new tools.
Yeah,
we have new tools to bring the same message.
That's right.
The same traditions. We have new ways to bring it to the people because that's no matter what's going on. What I have learned from this whole thing, people need God because God provides courage, strength, hope, love. God is so gives this life to people, a sense of peace that you can't get from anything else in life. You need it. The only way you can find it is in Christ. So people need that right now. So we as a church should be doing whatever we can to bring that to them. However media, whatever online, whatever everything that we can use, we should be using every tool we've got to bring God to the people.
Amen, brother. Now, in terms of how you, what was the word?
Apply? Application?
Yeah.
How do we apply?
It's late, you guys had a long day. Okay, applying those, let's talk about some of the new positions that, or at least one that's on my mind that churches, I already know some that's hired this new position and with the name of it to be determined, there's these staple positions that churches have always had. Music minister, you got your youth minister, your DRE, et cetera. But
I do love churches because they always can come up with like creative names for something.
Yeah.
Like I've been called so many, like I'm the youth ministry director or the director of the youth ministry program or just youth minister or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for these new jobs because they'll probably have crazy names.
So what I think some of the major duties of said job will be director of live stream, director of technology and social media
managers,
combination website. So it's going to be tech savvy people, probably millennials, maybe even Gen Zers at this point, if they're old enough, that really know how to put content out there, tech savvy people, camera savvy people,
or people willing to learn.
People willing to learn, exactly. Because the reality is,
because I didn't know how to do any of this stuff.
Right.
I didn't know how to do any of this.
Right.
And I just was like, well, it needs to be done, so I'm doing it. Thankfully, I'm very blessed at my situation too. I know that you're kind of doing a lot of stuff on your own. Granted, you're kind of a jack of all trades, but I have like a sound guy, a parishioner here that's been very involved with sound, and he's like a career. Like the dude that can do anything.
Yeah.
And he's like my sound dude. Like, so he's on the sound. I'm doing visuals. I have another person that's on charge of the comments and like the editing and stuff like that of the video after the fact.
Right.
So like it's a 3-person job. And if we had to step that up to multiple cameras, then you need a director, like you're saying, that's in charge of the camera cuts, that's in charge of the are all the cameras on, are all the cameras charged? What looks the best? What looks great? Am I in people's way? Am I not? How can I provide the best live stream, but also make sure I'm not taking away from the person mass? Huge responsibility.
Huge responsibility. And could that be volunteer? Absolutely. Trouble though, right?
Trouble.
If you count on a person just to show up, how many volunteer Eucharistic ministers, lectors, ushers, hospitality members do you like, oh, they're coming today, and then you're like,
and I think you can speak to this. It can't just because the church has I'm gonna call it right now. The church has a bad habit of just piling extra responsibilities onto people they already have got.
Yep.
So you as a liturgist, you can't take on that job. That's too much for you to do.
I'm already, so right now, I've fallen back on my liturgy duties, which I had to write the prayers of the faithful. Today, I guess it should have been my duty to give
a Mother's Day
a Mother's Day prayer to the priest, but liturgy job is new to me. I was just like, the priest always had it, and they just said the Mother's Day prayer. Was that on me? Maybe, but I've been not only selecting the songs, rehearsing them, because I'm singing them by myself, but all the technology, filming, live streaming, I'm taking on that job. It's like, I can't do all of that. I need help.
You just don't have and it's not even a matter. You just don't have enough hands to do it all. Like, how could you play music? And I can't imagine having to do. I got my hands full holding my phone.
Today I was playing songs, and in between I was looking, because we're still doing it from the phone, but the audio I stepped up big time today, and I was going over and I was muting the channels that weren't live.
That's what we do.
And then I was watching the camera. For comments, because actually people did help today. We had one of the microphones was crackling, and they were letting me know. So I looked at it. I was watching our view cam, and I switched out the microphone. And I went back and played a song, and then I went around.
You got to get a crew.
I know,
because the two things that I have a full on sound mixer at all times who has headphones in, listening to the sounds, and then I have another guy who's managing the comments and is in communication with that guy, so that I can just focus on the shot.
Right.
And I'm using my phone, but I have like a gimbal that moves and everything, so I can get you got to get a crew. But this is the kind of stuff, these are jobs that can be opened up to people.
Exactly.
That are sure, some of it could be voluntary job, but I think if a church is smart, they would get, and they're going to do this to a high degree and a high level of technology, you need somebody that's going to be in charge of all this. And he can go out and just
find
like
a team.
Yeah, just like any ministry, right? There's someone who's a paid liturgist who goes out and finds lectors, Eucharistic ministers, ushers, whoever.
I'm a paid choir director. Not my entire choir is paid. I have all volunteers are in the choir, but I'm the paid head of it, right? So the same is going to be for technology. I think if churches are smart. All right, this is good. We're getting fired up. We're at 30 minutes. We got to take a quick break. Let's come back.
Okay, so we're talking about new positions, new jobs that could be opened up for the church. We talked about social media managers, because that's important, is getting the word out to people. And I think that it's a great thing that more churches have kind of stepped up their social media game. Like, you know what I did? You know how easy it is? We have a flyer on our church doors right now that has it's like a little, hey, you can watch Mass here on Facebook. There's a little QR code. You scan with your phone, brings you right to the live stream.
Dude, I didn't even think about that, but
took me 30 seconds.
Wow. So
you just threw it on a poster.
That's amazing. Here's another, let me talk about that first. Here's another thing is churches can now much more easily get great ideas from one another, because often we're living in our little bubbles in our parishes. Youth ministers don't often collaborate with one another. Sometimes
they do. Sometimes they do.
Music ministers, in my experience, we don't.
Sure. And I think in my youth ministry, I have a very close group of friends that are all in youth ministry in this area that we all collaborate together. And I'm going to shout her out. I don't know if she listens, but we have a great director for the Archdiocese for our region of youth ministry.
She should be on the podcast sometime.
She should. Kelly McLaughlin does an insanely great job at being a resource and collectively bringing youth ministers together to share ideas and thoughts. So we're blessed in this area to have that. Other youth ministers may not.
I'm going to say that right now. Kelly's going to come on the podcast soon. So Kelly, if you're listening, we got you soon. All right. But a chance for us to learn from one another, because I might have said it on the last podcast with Deacon Todd, but like when you have the opportunity to see really great things online, like on YouTube, like me as a musician, if I can like learn from the best piano player or the best guitarist and be inspired and see them, it's going to help me grow that much quicker. But if I was only able to like see the 4 guitarists that were like around me in my world and I was the best one of them, it would be harder for me to improve. And I'm not saying we need to like, it's a competition of churches, but we want to bring beauty to the mass every single time. And go ahead.
I think that I didn't want to cut you off, but I think
I was like, you got to go on.
But I like your point, because I think that us as human beings, to stay motivated, we always need someone to chase, right?
Yeah.
You always need someone to look to like, that's where the top of the mountain is. I want to get to that, right? And we have that in how we live, right? At least I think we're always chasing Jesus, right? That's how he's the model to how we live.
Right.
So I think it's okay to always have someone to chase, right? Who you and all of us can look at who's doing things the best and go and strive to get as close as we can.
Right. And I can't speak. I'm not a priest. I'm also not a theologian. But
we're just 2 Catholic dudes. We have a podcast.
But like homilies, you could look and see who's doing really great homilies out there, and you can model what you do, and you can look at. So now not only you like sometimes you can listen to them in the past, but now so many great ones are doing video homilies, and you can see what do they do that engages people? Like what are their gesticulations? That's my favorite word. What are they doing with their hands? Are they moving around? Or what kind of eye contact are they giving?
Of course.
But they can like use that as like a master class in homiletics. But me as a musician, what I always found was like I was so isolated and I didn't have any like resources to pull on what other great musicians around other churches were doing, because you know why? Every Sunday I was busy. I couldn't go to other churches and watch them because I was singing in mass. And I'm like, I wish I could just like be a fly on the wall and see what these great parishes were doing musically.
Absolutely. Well, when I was getting ready to start the live stream, right? Because I brought the idea to my pastor. I said, hey, we need to live stream. And I watched Word on Fire because they've been doing it forever. Right. So I watched Word on Fire and I was like, what are they doing? How do I make mine work?
Exactly. Exactly.
Are we as cool as no? We don't have the budget or the quality, but you know what? What
can we do with the resources that we have?
I was like, how can I get as close to this as possible?
Exactly. We need to strive for greatness. We need to strive for beauty. Yeah. And again, it's not a competition. We're not like trying to beat your neighboring parish in quality. My homily was
absolutely not
9 out of 10 this week, and his was like a 6 because I watched it and it was like so. No, that's not what we're aiming for. But we just want to collectively step up. Here's another thing: knowing that people are going to be watching this, maybe that's motivation not to like phone it in. Some musicians you might be like, I could really dive in and try to find some new music this week, or really like learn this song well, but also I don't want to. So I'm just gonna like do the same song we did all the time, and I don't really know it that well, but it's fine. But now like, okay, 600 people are gonna watch it online, so like I better not suck.
Yeah. Or for some of mine, we're getting like thousands of people to watch it.
Yeah.
I had like 2,000 views on my Easter vigil.
That's amazing.
And it's like And I've noticed that my pastor is like, he brings it every single time. He truly is giving it his best to be there and be in the moment. He's getting more comfortable, which is great. But like all of us that are part of our live stream, we're trying to take it really seriously, because exactly to that point it's very serious to us. And it's like, it's still mass. We're bringing mass to the people. Like we have to put forward our best. And like, if there's like flubs or little things we mess up, we're like, ugh. It's like, it drives me insane all day long.
Yeah.
Because I think that like there's masses like when we're just there, it's just like, well.
I think a lot of us have gotten complacent over the years of just the same old. And there would be all kinds of those flubs and mistakes and stuff like that. And you're just like, whatever, like moving on. But like something about this is different. It's new.
People are taking it really serious.
Yeah. And I think there's a level of beauty to that is going to be seen for years, if not decades to come.
Yeah.
You know? Let's talk about a little bit about the broader church. We've been talking about like parish life. What happens on our individual parish, on our like a little bit neighboring parishes, but like the broader scope of the Catholic Church. Are we going to have any major changes? Do we think that now is the time for a new major ecumenical council? Our last council was a big word. That was my second big word of the podcast. Gesticulations, ecumenical. Those usually don't go together.
You're like a thesaurus.
That's right. So our last council was, everyone's favorite Vatican II, which we probably will have a separate podcast
which was
on.
1962
to 1965. We just looked that up.
Yeah.
I knew it was like early 60s, but
according to my calculations,
the exact years, 1962 to 1965.
Goodness.
So it's been just about almost 60 years.
Yeah.
And
we did look it up for the most part since the beginning of all the ecumenical councils it's been roughly
50 to 100 years.
50 to 100 years in between each one, except for like the Council of Trent,
which was like a beast of a council.
Yeah, it lasted like
it just covered like everything. Everyone was like, we're fine for a long time. So,
but that lasted like 300 years before Vatican I after the Council of Trent.
Right.
So, but like, so technically, I mean, not technically, like who decides that? Not us. But yeah, definitely not us. But I mean, it could be justified to have another council. It's been 60 years.
Before this went down, people were saying we need to have another council because Vatican II was, shall we say, vague on a lot of points.
It's a lot of gray.
There's a lot of gray areas where people took that and ran with it, and that's why people are so angry about the things that, like, oh, the church is doing this. And we're not going to get into that. We got into a little bit on Novus Ordo and traditional Mass.
Favorite podcast we've ever done.
I know. That's probably our most popular to date. So we will have a follow-up episode to that, if not multiple. And we will have this episode on Vatican II itself. So anyways, a lot of Vatican II issues probably need to be addressed. And that could be one part of it, but then there hasn't been an ecumenical council since this whole digital era. And now that we are in this COVID situation and the church is stepping up to the digital medium in a huge way, I think a lot of things need to be addressed because churches are just kind of like making it up as they go.
Well, yeah, because masses have not been banned. Like live in-person masses have not been banned like this since the Spanish flu 100 years ago.
And it was only like 2 months, right?
It didn't specify. I only read an article from like Seattle, and it was several months.
I don't think it was a nationwide thing. I think this is the first time it's a nationwide, let alone global thing.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Wow, wild.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So, churches are kind of reinventing the wheel as they go. Nobody knows what to do. They're getting obviously like their bishops and their dioceses are giving them rules and instructions, but some are following them more loosely than others.
Right.
And some churches are just kind of figuring it out, and it's like the Wild West right now, honestly. So like,
there's not, and I think a lot of people are upset with like Rome because we're not getting a ton of direction. Like there's not like, he's not coming out and saying like, hey, this is what you need to all do, you know? But like, hey, I don't know. I think that like
maybe they're waiting for this new ecumenical council because
they can't. There's way too many people to gather.
There's way too many people. Once this is through, so the reason the councils exist is to address problems, is address things that are unclear, so the Trent was in response to
the Protestant
Reformation. And so like, okay, there's all these things going on. We want to talk about them and figure out what we mean.
Well, what happened?
Exactly. So I honestly think it's warranted, and I think it could do a lot of good.
Maybe they'll invite us. Probably not.
If we get to 5,000 followers, we might get invited to the new ecumenical council, which will be called Vatican III. It'll be called what?
I was going to call it the Cyber Council.
The Cyber Council of 2021.
You
heard it first.
Yeah, the Council of COVID. I don't know. COVID-21, because it's going to happen in 2021. Maybe.
Who knows? But yeah, if guys, I that's what I heard. If we get to 5,000 followers, they invite one of us to the council. If we get to 10,000, if we get to 10,000 followers, they're going to invite both the Catholic dudes to be in on the council. So please spread the word and help get us to 10,000 followers on our Instagram. It's _2 Catholic dudes.
Just tell everyone we're liars.
I mean, but like,
if we get 5,000 followers, we'll be invited to the next ecumenical council.
I think that's how it works. I mean, I'm not big on social media, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So hit us up on the Instagrams.
They definitely want our opinion.
They do. I mean, because they're going to have plenty of theologians, plenty of priests, plenty of bishops. They're like, you guys, you know what we need?
Just 2 Catholic dudes.
We just need 2 Catholic dudes to get their opinion because we need that real life.
They need the average Joes.
That's what the angle that we're gonna bring to COVID-21, the Cyber Council of 2021.
Vatican III.
That's right. So
Nice.
spread the word, guys. I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yep.
We know Bishop Barron, so
Yeah, that's our in, man.
we'll tag along.
We'll be good.
We got a lot of things to say, but I think
Holy
we've said
moly.
most of them.
But to wrap up,
Because councils last like at least 3 years.
Right.
So this podcast has lasted 42 minutes so far.
good for us. We always say like, oh, let's just hit like a 35-minute one. Never happens.
The first episode we did was 35 minutes.
But you were like so nervous.
We were very nervous. Go back and check it out. If you guys found us and popped in on like episode 35 and had been watching, go back to episode 1.
We have a couple of really great ones early on.
Yeah.
Before we started losing.
There were some
things to talk
clunkers there. Let's not lie.
about. Yeah.
The video has changed throughout the almost year. It's a process. It's a process. Like everything in this world, it's a process. Getting through this COVID-19 situation is a process, and figuring out where the church goes from here is going to be a process.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to be prepared. Think about all possible solutions. Come up with ideas on your own. Come up with ideas together so that when said situation arises, you will have already thought of that and you can move forward quickly. Because again, we are in a battle. We're in a battle to keep our churches open because we're financially in turmoil right now.
Yep.
We want to make sure that these churches can stay open, that we can continue to feed the people, but we want to continue to play offense and be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of the game, so that again, when some situation arises, we can attack instead of seeing like, oh, this sucks, boo-hoo us, and we have to take action now.
Yeah. Absolutely. We need to be a church of action and not just sit around and wait. But, to wrap up, we're wrapping up.
Are we?
I
feel like we could chat some more. This is a great episode.
We're talking.
There's no wrap up. That's it.
Okay, here it is.
All right, Danny's big point.
We're talking about the future of the church, right? This episode, we were just spitballing our ideas, our thoughts on things like that. Here's the point that I want to make, no matter what. The future of the church is, the biggest point is that there is a future of the church, is the church will have a future. The church will go on. The church has gone through so much over the years. And this is just another one of the things that, will it shake the faith of people? Absolutely. Will it shake the foundations of our leadership? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, when all this is said and done, the church that Jesus himself founded will still stand strong. Will we have new tools, new ways to feed the flock? Yeah, we will. Will we have new people that have maybe found their way in the church and found a place in the church because they had a lot to offer during this time? Yeah, we probably will. But the best thing that we can do is have that hope and trust that we have a church that's strong enough to get through this because we have a God that's big enough to handle anything. So that the future of the church episode, what's the future of the church look like? Bright. All right? Bright.
If you guys want to book Danny Cleary to be your speaker at your event, contact us.
I'm going to blush.
At 2catholicdudes@gmail.com.
Make sure that it's an event that has less than 50 people. COVID-19.
That's right. And follow us on social media. Get us to 5,000.
Get us to 5,000 or 10,000 so Ryan and I go to the next ecumenical council.
Right. So thanks for tagging along this episode, guys. Continuing on the conversation, Tell us what you guys think.
Yeah.
The future. Tell us some ideas that you think are going to happen. Some ideas that will help us get through this. But chat with us. Chat at us. DMs on Instagram. Comment. You know what we really need is comments on the actual YouTube page. That helps the algorithm, the infamous algorithm on YouTube, and for other people to find us.
Yeah.
Any little thumbs up, you know what it is. Do the thumbs up. Do the subscribe. Hit the bell. And yeah, any engagement that we can get will help this channel continue to grow, and we appreciate all the support that you have given over this almost year that we've been together with you. We really, really appreciate it. Of course, patreon.com/Two Catholic Dudes is where you can support us financially. Again, make sure you're please supporting your parish in this time.
Yep.
Support, any causes. There's probably a lot of people that need food, that need money that's going on right now. We should be the last on the list. If you have a surplus of money and you feel like you want to give, we very much appreciate that, and your support means the world to us. So, wow. That was a lot.
That's great. So thank you guys for tuning in. Ryan, it was great to be back together again to do a
Wonderful
podcast.
Wonderful to see you in person.
I'm sure we'll be back on Zoom here.
No. No more Zoom. I don't want to do those edits. We're going to have guests on Zoom because we figured out how to do Zoom for the two of us. So now we're going to be in person. We're going to have all the Zoom guests we want.
We let us know in the comments too about topics you want us to talk about.
Possible guests you want us
to talk about. We're here to just discuss whatever. We just get our thoughts and our opinions out there. We just like to engage and talk about anything. So let us know.
Yeah. We definitely want to hear your inputs on like guests that you'd like to see, but probably not like Aunt Jenny, or cousin
or Aunt Jemima.
What? All right, it's late.
Or Mrs. Butterworth.
Wheels are coming off, guys. We're going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We will see you next week. As always, I was like, there should be a tagline that we end with. It's just peace.
What's your favorite board game?
All right, guys. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you next week.
Peace.